Hey guys, so today we're gonna be working on this word problem showing in the screen. Amanda was watching her little brother Mike play on a swing set. She decided that she would like to find his distance above the ground using a sine or cosine curve. She starts timing and finds that at 2 seconds, Mike is at his highest point. He reaches his lowest point exactly 1.5 seconds later. Amanda also records that the highest Mike gets is 9 feet, while his lowest point is 1 foot. Write an equation that will find Mike's height after t seconds. So from here, we could start highlighting of the most important information. So we see that at 2 seconds, Mike reaches his highest point, which is 9 feet, while his lowest point is 1 foot, that is reached 1.5 seconds later. So we know already that at 2 seconds, Mike reaches his highest point, which is 9 feet. And his lowest point was reached 1.5 seconds later, which means that it is reached at 3.5 seconds, which is 1 foot. So from here, we have enough information to draw our y-axis and x-axis in our scale. So our x-axis is going to be our time in seconds, and our y-axis is going to be our height in feet. And our scale for our x-axis is going to be by 0.5 seconds up to 6. And for our y-axis, the scale is going to be going by 1 up to 9. So from here, we could start drawing our graph or curve. So we know that at 2 seconds, Mike reaches his highest point. So we put our first point at 2 seconds at 9 feet. And we also know that at 1.5 seconds later, Mike reaches his lowest point. So from here, we could assume that 1.5 seconds later, which is 5 seconds, Mike reaches his highest point once again. So from here, we could draw our graph. And showing in the graph, we could see that it is a cosine graph. But we are not done yet. The word problem is asking to write an equation that will find Mike's height at t seconds. So we are going to write out the parent equation. So it is y equals absolute value of a cosine brackets b parentheses x minus h plus k. Here you could be confused by what the letters mean, but the y equals the amplitude, which is the height of the hill, and the b equals the period, or how many cycles the graph is going to go, and our h equals our horizontal shift, and our k is our vertical shift. So our k could also be our midline. Before we start figuring out what goes where, we are going to find our period. And the way you find your period is with the equation 2 pi over b. And for our graph, we are going to input 2 pi over 3. I know that it is 2 pi over 3. Um, in the graph or in the problem, it showed and it told us that our curve is going to start at 2 seconds and it's going to end at 5 seconds. So the total time span is 3 seconds. That's why I wrote 2 pi over 3. To start writing our equation, we could see that our graph starts at 2 seconds, which means that our horizontal shift is at 2. And knowing our amplitude, we know that our highest point is 9 feet and our lowest is 1 foot. And our midline is 5, which is also our K. So this is another part of the equation. By this, we know that our amplitude will equal 4. Now we could write our equation and put it together. So it is going to be y equals amplitude, which is 4 cosine brackets 2 pi over 3, which is our period right here, parentheses x minus 2, which is our horizontal shift right here, parentheses bracket plus 5, which is it is our midline or our K. So by finding our equation, we answer our first question, which is to find an equation for Mike's height in t seconds. Now we had to answer our second question, which is find Mike's height at 5.4 seconds. In order to figure out the height of Mike on the swing set at 5.4 seconds, we have to just replace the x with 5.4 seconds since x is the time in seconds. So all you do is you plug in the 5.4 to x, but first I'm going to erase the period and the time in seconds and rewrite it to have more space. So the period here equals 2 pi over 3 and the x is our time in seconds. So what you do is you put y equals 4 of cosine brackets 2 pi over 3 parentheses 5.4 because you're going to replace the x. 5.4 minus 2 parentheses bracket plus 5. And after this, you just plug it in a calculator and it gets you the answer of 7.68, rounding to the nearest thousands, which means that at 5.4 seconds, Mike will be at his height of approximately 7.68 feet. So 7.68 feet answers our second question, which is find Mike's height at 5.4 seconds. So this is our answer for A, 7.68 feet. For our second question that the book asks us is find the first and second time that Mike reaches his height of 7.2 feet. In order to find the answer for B, which is find the first and second time that Mike reaches 7.2 feet, you had to use a calculator where you input the equation by substituting the 7.68 to y, and then after you input it, you input another equation that is y equals 7.2 in order to create a horizontal line through the graph at 7.2 feet. After you input the equation y equals 7.2, you could use, or from there, you could use the trace tool in the calculator to find 2 points that reaches 7.2. Check your answer after you input the equation. The first time it reaches 7.2 is at 1.53 seconds, and the second time is at 2.43 seconds. So to conclude, we found our first question, which was to find an equation, which is here. This was our first question. And then our second question was to find Mike's height at 5.4, and we got our second answer. And our third question was to find the 2 times that Mike reaches 7.2. So I hope this was helpful, and goodbye, guys.